Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Bright Side Home Theater Podcast. A home theater podcast that's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes.
Yeah, I was going to say,
chilly in here. It's getting chilly in here. Huh? You like that?
It must be Christmas.
Yeah, must be.
Exactly. I don't know. Which one did we go with? I have two of them here. Is this one or do you like that one better?
The smaller one, I think. The smaller
snowflakes.
Yeah, because that's distracting with us bigger. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's
there
better.
You go. All right.
I know. I'll be watching the snowflakes more than the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Enough about Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You heard it. You heard it here first. We all went with smaller.
Well,
I mean, if you have to be there, smaller's better.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've heard.
Exactly. Oh boy.
How we doing, fellas? How we doing?
Great.
Been better.
Oh man. There we go. Hopefully, we'll keep you entertained and mind off the illness stage. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, so it's tough time of year, So, but yeah. All right. So, how you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Busy as always. Busy. But good to be here. This is what Mondays look like on the Bright Side Home Theater podcast. It's all a bit weird, Deech. It snows on Mondays. Yeah, very strange. Tomorrow if we come back in, it'll all just be plain old, blue background.
No. This isn't a Monday thing. This is December.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
So,
yes. Yeah. Well, I have seen a holiday movie this week, but not the one that many people will think about, I'm sure.
Frosty.
Yeah. Oh my God. You said you heard. Did you hear the one on #Dork? Steve, when they were talking about Frosty? And
no.
Keith said he wanted to see the Snyder Cut version.
Actually, do you know what? I think I did hear that.
Yeah. It was awesome. I was cracking up. I was like, how have I never thought of that? Not that I'm a genius or anything, but he was talking about what's her name? The little girl's name's Karen. He had just watched it with his daughters. And he was saying, he's like, right, Steve? He's like, they go to commercial when they go into the greenhouse. They come back and he's a puddle on the floor. And he goes, I want the Snyder Cut version. I want the outtakes of where Karen's going, no, how do I stop this? And Frosty's melting.
I didn't hear that.
And then Ryan, like Davey's like, he's like burning to death on his terms, right? And like, how do I stop this? And Ryan shouts out, he goes, pick up one of the plants and break a window, Danny. It was awesome.
Yeah.
They acted out the whole thing, and it's so funny because it's so true. Like, he doesn't just turn into a puddle.
He's melting. I'm melting.
Exactly. Yeah, which we know from Wizard of Oz. Which
we do.
Yeah,
last week.
We went over that last week.
We did. Let's not revisit that. Trauma is a thing I don't wish to re-experience.
Exactly.
I've got to say though, Deej, do you know what? I mean, because you did whet my appetite with this and say how good it is and all the rest of it. But every time I see a clip on Twitter of them being interviewed, the two actresses, I'm reminded why it is I never need to ever see that film.
Why?
Oh my God, they are insufferable. And I like to think that I am, I'm fairly easygoing, as it were. I'm not, woke, if you want to call
easygoing.
it that. Just about. But with these two, they are insufferable. The way they interact with one another, and the interviewer is just like, oh my God, like flipping, take me out the back and shoot me. Because anyway, and in fairness, it's only little clips. Maybe they're not like that normally, but the bits they've shown just make me not want to go near it.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that's the problem, is if you judge anybody on a clip or anybody on a that's the point of the movie, actually. It's like if you judge anybody on something so like small, then you're as they say, like, you know, most negativity is based in ignorance. Once you get to know something, you'll be like, hey, that guy's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the problem with the press junket isn't it supposed to be little snippets that make you want to then see the movie? And unfortunately, these little snippets make me want to, you know,
gouge my eyes out. And
yeah. So it's not for you.
This is what we've discovered through that. And yet, look, I'm the minority because it's going gangbusters.
Oh, yeah.
They've made masses of money. They're making all the money. So, you know, it's just me. It's just me. I get that.
Yep.
But yeah, so otherwise, though, all good. All good. Been a busy week in the theatre. Seen some great stuff. And I'm going to put John a little bit on the spot when we get to some of these as well. Because, Deej, you and I have just talked about one particular thing, but I want to put John on the spot in a nice way. About something in particular, which you and I have already talked about, Deej. But we'll get to that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
you know how I love being put on the spot.
Yeah, we all do here, actually.
Yeah.
We do love being put on the spot.
I think so great on my feet.
Yeah.
That's why you sat down.
Yeah.
You actually are pretty good on your feet.
I'm okay, but
you're okay.
Yeah, it's not anything. It's something fun.
Okay. You've been hanging with us.
Yeah.
You've been hanging with me forever.
Oh, yeah. You keep a man on his toes. That's for sure.
I try. So
right. Alrighty.
All right.
How did the drawings go, Deej?
I haven't done them yet. I'm Eddie's traveling. I was trying to organize it to join with him. He's traveling, so I'm after this show. I organized everything. Actually, yesterday I went through all of the entries. I got them all into a sheet, and I've got everything organized. That took me a while yesterday. We ended up our podcast donated between donations directly to Davey, and then through the podcast alone, we donated just over $1,500.
Cool.
So thank you to everybody that donated everywhere. I really appreciate that. That includes the patrons. That includes all the patron money, the people that gave boxes of popcorn, people that donated that I could see, that I knew over on Davey's page. So, you know, I thought that was great. I went and tried to look last year, and we gave I think it was like $500 was last year, but that was like off the top of our head last year. So I think we can do even better next year. I put in a little bit more effort ahead of time, I hope, and get things really rolling. But yeah, so I know when I made the donation yesterday, put him, last year he did like $5,000. This year when I did mine, it put him at like 53, I think, or something like that. So
awesome. 53 grand. Wow.
5,300.
Oh, just checking.
So yeah, he's done well. And we did well. I thought that was really good for us, for our listeners. So thank you to everybody that participated in every way. And, you know, even the people in the 25-hour show that, you know, came on and, I mean, kept me going. And so that was awesome. And yeah, so I'll be recording a show right after this for that. So that for our Takeover Tuesday, and I'll have the winners on tomorrow's Takeover Tuesday. So there's a tease.
There is one slight sad moment that I think we need to acknowledge, Deej, before we move on.
Another one?
Well, that is the death of whatever was living on your top lip. Has clearly shuffled off, moved on.
He was gone yesterday.
We should take a moment of silence to respect the fact that it's no longer with us. Single tear. Right.
There we go. Finally.
I quite liked it, Deej. I thought it was kind of cool.
Like Frosty, he'll be back next year.
You'll start growing it now, will you, bud?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I literally am starting. I'm going to take the month off. I'll start January 1st. It'll be like, there we go. My New Year's resolution. It'll be coming back. You'll start to see like glimpses of it in like August. I had a lot of people.
It is it's very cool. It's very East Coast. The moustache kind of, again, the handlebars, the bushy moustache. It's very East Coast. I think it's cool. So it needs to come back. We need more of it.
Yeah. It's, I had a lot of people say that. A lot more this year than last year. People say, oh, man, man? I was like, what do you mean, oh man? I'm like,
It was never staying.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't like the feel of it. I honestly don't. I don't know how long you have to keep it to
You get used to it.
like, I didn't like the feel of like, even like laying down on a pillow, I could feel, I was like, ugh. I was like, what's that on my lip? Oh, that stupid thing. It's like, it's stuck there. It was like, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
You do get used to it, but also if you've got a certain length of it, you have to put kind of like wax and stuff in it, don't you? And kind of to take away the itch, which sometimes people get as well. So you have to kind of oil. Sorry, oil. Yeah, not wax. What I'm talking about? Oil. So you have to do all that too. So it requires maintenance, which is kind of the opposite of what you'd expect with that. Because the idea with facial hair is you haven't got to do anything with it.
Right.
So we've got a resident expert here.
Come on, John. Oil every day.
Yeah.
So,
really?
I think.
Yeah.
What does that do?
Stops it itching.
Keeps it from itching. Keeps it from getting dry under the skin from getting dry.
There you go. See, our resident expert. Now, I think for next year's for November, then John, you're going to have to just shave that bit and leave the rest.
I've had all kinds of variations.
Well, that's a lot
I've
of
had
people.
The mustache.
I've
had the goatee. Then I've had the full beard and gone back and forth. So
I think it's time we see photos of these. I think, come on, we need to see some.
They're out there somewhere. Yeah, I'll have to find them.
I can see it now. Who was the name of the painter that had the big afro?
Bob Ross.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that now, John. I'm seeing it.
Never had that, but
it's a matter of time.
Yeah, my hair doesn't go that way.
Hey, neither does mine.
That's true.
Alrighty.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that's how they said, like, people that have beards, like for Movember, they actually shave the beard and leave just the mustache.
Yeah.
Just to be like, what did you do that for? Because like, if you've never had just a flat, and you have had that, John, I know you've had all the different things like you said, but it would be a break from your reality right now.
Yeah, I've had the
if you will.
I've had the full beard for several years now.
Yeah,
at least.
As long as I've known you, you've had.
At least 10 years at this point. So it's been a while.
Time to start playing.
Once I had a job that didn't care. Usually, it was work that dictated what you could do and what you couldn't do. So, beard talk with John.
Yeah,
hey, that's awesome. Yeah, there we go. This is men's grooming with DJ Steve and John.
Yeah.
All right.
Now I'd look about 25 years younger if I shaved it off because it's all white. So
yeah, man. I think it's the season for that though, John. I mean,
true. I just need a red hat and a
done
belt.
All righty, let's talk movies then. Come on, we've got plenty to talk about.
You want to?
Oh, actually, no. Do you know what? I haven't said hello to everyone in the chat. Sorry,
there you go.
Do that. So I don't think I did that last week. Oops. Right. So TSG was first in, local boy. TSG, hi, buddy. Van Gool's in, and these people deserve a special praise because it's a Monday. It's the night that most people are drinking themselves into a stupor, knowing that they've got a long week ahead at work. Right. So they're tuning in is good to see. So So Rach is in. Hi, Rach. Steve Att is in. Fred's in. All together now. Hey, Fred.
Hey, Fred.
Hey, Fred. This has been a Hey Fred.
That's not
production.
all together now, guys. Come on.
I know. Well, again, we have to know it's coming.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Oh, anyway. Carl's in. Hi, Carl.
Leave it.
Sorry. I'm not going back to that. Moving
Keeping
forward.
it PG for Steve.
Yeah, Steve Att did say PG this week.
Good God.
Yeah, he did. Dom's here after having done a long 420-mile trip in the south of France. Goodness me, it's got bad. But you're not getting any sympathy for that, Dom, because south of France is beautiful. So, 420-mile round trip, no sympathy here, mate. And we've got, I think Bill McAllister dropped it. Yeah, Bill said hi via X. Hiya, Bill. So plenty of people in and more besides, looking at the numbers. So if you're in and you want to say hello, do drop us a line and we will take the mickey out of you. And also say hello.
Yeah.
All right. Movies.
What do we want to get to first?
Take your pick, Mr. Briggs.
Something I got to find something here to get me going. Here we go. You want to do this for fun?
Yeah, I could do. Do you want me to do all three fairly quickly?
Are they in a row? Do I have them in a row?
Yeah, there's all three. Yeah. They're all there.
The other one's over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got, and then there's the next one, which is the.
There we go.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, they're all in a row. So you see the row.
Yeah.
This is the rows right here. You see, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That good?
That's the one. Yep. That's it. Nice one. We can do these fairly quick because they're all part of one collection. So yeah.
All righty then. What this is? There it is. Boom.
Yeah.
Go push play.
Not the right sounder.
What he said.
Yeah. Well, it was a quick night. It's fine. Yeah.
I'm a little off my game today, boys. Sorry about that.
Hey, you're all right, buddy. No worries. No worries. That's okay.
Right. My head.
Somehow that suits this movie anyway. Putting one thing on and doing something else fits it nicely. All right. So this then is the newly released 4K Zaz collection. Z-A-Z, not Z-A-Z. Z-A-Z Zaz collection. Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker collection of 3 movies in 4K: Airplane, Top Secret, and The Naked Gun. And released in a little bit of a tragic twist, although I also think perhaps that Jim Abrams might have quite liked the idea that this was released on the day he passed away. So Jim Abrams, one of those 3, sadly passed away last week, and we have got his works to appreciate, and that's why this week I wanted to see all 3. 1, I love these movies, and 2, it seems like an appropriate tribute to him. Okay, so this is the first one then. So Airplane, one of, if not the funniest films of all time. I think for me, it's got, and Deej, this is what you and I talked about, and this is why, John, in a minute, I'm going to ask you what your favorite movie comedy is of all time. Okay. And we talked about this because we talked about Blazing Saddles a while back, and Deej, you had Dumb and Dumber. And then I had Life of Brian from Monty Python is just a hair above this, but this is very close to number 2, if not some days number 1. This film is just a riot and very, very funny. And I've seen it 60, 70, 80 times. I don't know, millions of times. And I love this film. And this is the first time, though, I've seen it in the cinema room. So, and I was too young to see this in the cinemas when it came out. So this is a 75-inch screen, biggest I've ever seen it. And I noticed a number of things I'm almost ashamed to say that I've never seen before, despite the number of times I've seen it. I never realized that in the Mayo Clinic, that behind him there are jars of mayo. I had never noticed that. I'd never noticed that before. So I'm seeing that going, oh, right, okay, fine. I'd never do that. I just thought it was a setup for the line, give me ham on 5 and hold the mayo. That's what I thought the whole thing was. But actually behind the doctor, there are jars of mayo. And also one of the x-ray scenes, you can see as they're walking through the x-ray machine, someone in their stomach's got scissors and things like that, which I'd never noticed before, which is just a quick sight gag that's there and gone, and I'd never seen it. So anyway, but I love it. It's very funny. This movie is timeless. It never dates, never ages. I say timeless. Some of the attitudes towards women and race might have changed a bit, but the film is very, very funny. I love it. And yet it's never looked as good as this. All 3 of these movies look and sound as good, if not better, than they've ever looked before. The 4K, it's not night and day, and it's not a completely different movie. It's not Terminator or Twisted each. We're not going to add this to our remasters.
No.
But it does look, though, very clean and very bright as well. Like you could the actors' eyes are almost sparkling. Which is great. And so for a movie that everybody loves, I think, I've never heard anyone say they hate this film. For a movie that I think everybody loves, this is the best it's ever looked. And interestingly, it's in DTS HD 5.1. And at the beginning, obviously, you get the Jaws stuff. Spoiler alert, anyone.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, you get the Jaws music, and obviously you get the plane fins going backwards and forwards. When the plane comes right at the screen and goes up and over, in Neural X, that goes right over the top of the screen. So for a comedy that has no other kind of real audio sonic things to recommend it, you do get an overhead sonic effect, which is quite cool. Nice way to start it. And then they all just go silent for the rest of the movie. But otherwise, it's very good. So I loved watching this again, and it's very cool to get this as part of the collection. So yeah, very cool. So should we do the next one? We'll move on to the next one. Same again.
Yeah. Oh, this when
You
I
can't
saw this
go on
one
some time
show
to
up,
think,
I was like, oh,
oh.
what fake
Now,
Dougie?
now this is, I think, has become for a lot of people that aren't like us, film nerds, HT nerds. I think Top Secret, which is this second one in the collection, is largely forgotten. I don't think many people have remember this that are not into this stuff, and yet this really does stand shoulder to shoulder with Naked Gun and with Airplane, maybe a little bit below. Excuse me, sorry, done a lot of teaching today, a lot of talking. So it does stand pretty shoulder to shoulder with them. I mean, you guys presumably seen this, like this, love this as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I didn't notice anything in this I haven't seen before, I have to say, but it's still very, very funny. My standout stuff for these, the names of the various French resistance soldiers are fantastic. You've got Montage, you've got Flambe, and then of course Deja Vu, who then says, "Have we met before, Monsieur?" Which I just think is genius in every way. So it's such a good film, and again, doesn't date. Love it. Very, very funny indeed. And I mean, and what's the link to Batman in this, by the way, guys? The link to Tim Burton's Batman.
Well,
Sorry, not Tim Burton's Batman. Schumacher's Batman, in fact. But what's the link?
I was just say, besides Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Other than that, who else is in this? That's in the Batman movies. Michael Gough is in it, who plays Alfred.
Oh, really?
He is in this as well as
okay.
the scientist. Yeah. So you have a link to Batman there. There we go. Bring back
I wouldn't have
comics.
remembered that.
Yeah, no, me neither until I saw it.
Until you see it, you go, oh my God.
Yeah, there he is. And again, looks really nice. They've cleaned it up very, very well indeed. So it's Paramount release for all of these. And so it's nice and clean. Again, looks bright as anything, exactly as you'd want. And then the sound is, I mean, it is what it is. It's 5.1, DTS HD 5.1. But these movies are not sonic experiences. These are movies they're just dopey, fun movies.
Oh my God.
And they've never looked better than this. So it's great.
This is the one
really,
with the
really
fake
good.
doggy do, right? Is that
Yes. What?
Yeah, it was like you left your fake doggy do.
Omar
outside.
Sharif.
Like,
yes.
What fake doggy do?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, tell me this, guys. In what world did they manage to persuade Omar Sharif to be in this movie? I mean, he must have not read the script, or he read it and thought that it was just a straight movie. He didn't realize that it was a silly comedy.
People can have senses of humor.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, I think prior to Airplane, I mean, Leslie Nielsen was a serious actor as well. So,
yeah,
but
that's what
never
made
know.
him so crazy.
That's right. That's what made him so good in the movies, though.
Yeah, because he just played it deadpan, and he played it as like he always played everything, like a drama or whatever. And then, but you're doing it in the context of this ridiculous comedy, and it made everybody. That's what made it so funny, the juxtaposition. But yeah,
and of course the backwards Swedish shop thing with Vincent Price is fantastic as well, and always funny and well worth seeing. And apparently, as an extra on this, they run it the proper way, so you can see what actually happened as well. So
gags,
very, very good.
Everything they did, it was just so ridiculous. I mean, this play was it. What year was this? Was it? 80?
Gosh,
it was 80, on. I watched it. It got a loop. It seemed like on HBO as a kid.
Okay,
when we were in high school.
I think I'm going to go with 84. Let's see what happens. Right, survey says 84. Oh,
I want to say it was before Top Gun too.
Well, that was 86.
Yeah,
so this was his first film. This was Kilmer's first movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, he came in out of nowhere. I mean, had quite a bit to do in this. I mean, Elvis numbers and stuff, and dancing and everything else. I mean, it was quite a good. But yeah,
goes from this to be an Iceman. Come
on. Yeah, very different. Very different. But yeah, it's great. So it's such a, and I think it is underrated. Again, I think for those, it's a PG, and the English discs, by the way, still have the American classification on them. So it's a PG. I would caution against watching this with young children, though. I'm a little bit surprised these are PGs because there are, naked flesh, and some of the humor is his manager's got a love marital aid that he goes off, which they said, wasn't it? This is the German chap says that he takes this marital aid home to his hotel, and he said our greatest surgeons worked on him for 2 hours. It took him that long to wipe the smile off his face.
Yeah. God. But yeah, this
So,
was
they're not
before
really for young kids.
PG-13 though. That's why.
Yes, it was PG. It does say PG-13 on the thing, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think there were, some young children. You might have some awkward questions on this, as you might, Mikey. So,
Yeah.
so it was just dropped in. So yeah, but it is so good. It is very, very good indeed. But again, largely forgotten, I think, apart from people like us that like our movies. So yeah, which leads us then to the last but not least.
There you go.
Which I think you might have mentioned when we talked about this before. Is some of your favorite ones, and this is then the last of the three, which is Naked Gun in 4K. Bizarrely, not the second or the third one, which is a bit odd, but not 2.5 or 33 1/3. So the original Naked Gun, but again, though, this, like the other two, has been really polished up. It looks great. Again, I can only say bright and colorful because they all look very similar in terms of how they've been done. So never look better, never sounded better than they do. And so the nice beaver gag is never been funnier.
Yeah. That's what I
mean,
was
it's the
thinking
one that
when
we
you
all
said
remember,
with the last movie, and you're like, the things they were doing and saying, I'm like, nice beaver. Thanks, just had it stuffed. And she pulls down the beaver.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So great.
So this is a great collection. I mean, over here it's £60, so it'll be probably $60 in the US, which is not too bad for three all-time classic comedies. And I said one on most people's funniest film of all time list. So very, very good. So yeah, well worth picking this set up. I really enjoyed it this week, not just to pay tribute to Jim Abrams, but as a collection as well. It's very good. Although I am hoping at some point they will release Airplane 2, the sequel. But that has a little bit of a dark kind of thing to it, whereby the Abrams brothers and the Zucker brothers did not agree to the sequel. The sequel was done without them. They were asked to do it by Paramount, said, why would we want to do that? And Paramount went ahead and made it without them. And according to the commentary that I listened to of them, they've never seen Airplane 2. They never watched it. And yet I think there are some bits in Airplane 2 that are absolutely fantastic and are very funny. The Star Trek gags are all very, very funny with the doors where they say shh, shh, every time the doors open, and things like that. And there's a great trial sequence, which always makes me laugh my head off as well. But yeah, so I'm hoping at some point we'll get Airplane 2. But until then, these are very, very good indeed. So yeah, very cool. So John, funniest film of all time, in your opinion, please, buddy. You've been given some time now.
Well, and I've already cycled through about 6 movies since I've been sitting here because I keep thinking of others. But
well, I had 2, so I didn't even just have one. Deej was good. He had Dumb and Dumber. That's it.
Well, I'm gonna just say Young Frankenstein.
Oh,
that's great.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, but I have at least 5 that I considered while we were sitting here. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. What are your other ones?
It'd be Holy Grail was one. Blues Brothers. I really like quite a bit.
Yep.
Airplane is there, of course. Underrated, maybe not straight comedy, but Midnight Run is I find hysterical. So just quite a bit, but it's probably Mel Brooks. It's either Young Frankenstein or History of the World. One of those. Yeah, so
they are good. They are good. I mean,
there's so many, and it depends on the day, right? Like, depends on my mood. But
there's very little, I think, as subjective as comedy.
Right.
One person's kind of absolute fall on the floor laughing is another person's, that's stupid. Right. And I happen to know someone
offended.
quite close to me who
it's supposed to be a joke, and people get offended, and you're like, "It's a joke, people." It's like that's the point of it. It's like,
someone quite close to me absolutely just thinks this stuff is just stupid, and it's just like, what's funny about that? You're like, and if you have to explain it, it's not funny to that. But you can't, no matter how you explain it to that person, it ain't going to be funny to them. You either respond to it or you don't. But which is why I think Airplane features on so many lists, because it's broad humor. You've got different types within the single one. So you've got slapstick, you've got wordplay, you've got kind of sitcom, situational comedy, you've got all this kind of thing within one movie, which is probably why it plays to such a broad number of people. Whereas perhaps Top Secret's a war movie, and taking the mickey out of war movies. If you haven't seen them, you're not going to get the jokes. And Naked Gun, similarly, although that I think does have wide appeal as well. But yeah, I mean, very, very good.
Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was, and I'm irritated with myself. But something I was watching about a week and a half ago, had me literally rolling off the couch. Like I could not stop laughing. I don't know
love
what
it.
it was.
Drink.
But the thing is, the whole time Lydia is just looking over at me like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, it's not funny. I don't know what, but yeah, man, I wish I could remember what it was, because I literally laughed for 10 minutes. I just kept thinking about it and laughing. Could not stop. So
yeah,
it might have been a TikTok. It might have been a YouTube video. I don't know what it was, but she was just like, what is wrong? Who did I marry? Like, what is going on? What's happening in my life that I'm sitting next to this guy? So,
but that then makes it funnier, doesn't it? At some point,
it made me laugh even more.
Yeah,
right. But like you said, it's like it depends on your mood, because you'll come back to it later, and there's nothing worse than when you come back to it later to show somebody, you're like, watch this, and even you are like, really not that funny. What was I looking at?
And it was probably something just stupid, like somebody falling and like some YouTube short or something. I don't. I don't know, but
like you're like, you don't get it. You're not understanding. It's so funny because of this. Then you come back like a week later and go, what was I seeing? But
so that's comedy.
That's where the line had to be there comes from. It's like, I guess you had to be there. Yeah, sorry. But that's why I know Dumb and Dumber is my number one, because like all the ones you listed, John, are great. I mean, they all are. They're all awesome. But if somebody asks me, I can't even think of anything else. I just go Dumb and Dumber. Probably because I'm just dumb and I can't think of anything else. So I relate to the title. But it's like, you're just like Dumb and Dumber, because that just resonated with everybody. Or around, it was just everybody around me. It was just like, and I'd seen all those movies before. I think Airplane, my parents took me to see for my birthday when in the theater.
How old would you have been, Deej?
Was that 80?
80, 81? One of the
10, 11.
10 or 11.
Yeah, so okay.
And you're like, most of it went over my head at the time, but then later you're like, my parents took me to see this, and it was a big deal. Like for your birthday, they'd take you to the movies and the Ground Round in Framingham. That's what we had to drive from. Yeah, and it was like throw the peanuts on the floor and all. That was a big deal. Yeah. They're coming back. I heard.
They're coming back. I saw something on Facebook.
Yeah, Theo's in the chat. PTA. Oh, huge. Wicked great.
Recency bias, surely.
Yeah.
I watched it Thursday, but
that's Thanksgiving. There you go. It's so but yeah, PTA. It's like, those aren't pillows. They're all like hysterical. But yeah, that's why I always just go right to
Steven Duck Soup. It was a classic, right?
Yeah, and the producers as well. Another Mel Brooks, wasn't it? The producers.
Yeah, producers. Yeah.
That I did after I'd done the basic kind of qualification here called the GCSEs. I did an A level, which is an extra qualification in history, and we studied Nazi Germany as part of that. And the teacher that took it, he was a really nice guy. Was fascinated by all things Nazi Germany in the right way, not the wrong way. And the producers was the other thing. And so every now and then he would just come out with, don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party. And just, he would then just dissolve into paroxysms of laughter whilst we were kind of like, what the hell are you on about?
Right.
But then having seen the producers afterwards, kind of did. It's very funny. Yeah. So there we go. Oh, and Jordan said, see, Jordan is betraying his age, right?
Why?
He's the mask.
Yeah.
One of his favorite. See, definitely betray. Although it then says the lady killer's 55, so maybe not. But I think the Mask is someone of a certain age. Very, very good film. Good film. But there you go. Yeah, excellent. Right, there we go. Put that to rest then. That's it. We know our comedies.
There we go. All right, I got it. Boom. Boom. There we go. All right. What do we got next for John here?
No matter.
What's that?
No matter.
No matter. Where are yours? There they are. Oh, let's do this one. I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Oh, okay.
Ready? Let's not go push play.
What he said.
Okay, well, late to the party once again, but I picked up Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga on a Black Friday deal, and got the 4K disc Saturday, watched it yesterday. I will preface my commentary on this movie by saying that I've never been the hugest fan of the Mad Max Saga in general. Like, I think they're all largely fine, but not my favorite movies. This, I think, for me, is the best of the bunch. Of the saga. Like, I enjoyed the movie, the story of this more than any of the others. I was a bit put off by Chris Hemsworth and his character, but the movie itself is enjoyable. I know you guys have already both talked about this, so I won't spend a million years on it. But I did enjoy the movie. I went into it, with moderate expectations and kind of enjoyed it. As far as the disc, though, like you guys both mentioned, stunning. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. I mean, this, well, apart from another one that I'll talk about today, but is not from this year, so it wouldn't count. But yeah, definitely in the running for disc of the year. As far as I'm going to have one for next week that may give it a run for its money. We'll see. But yeah, sound is stunning. Visuals are stunning. Again, there's just not really a lot more to say about it. It's thoroughly enjoyable. I had a great time with it, and we'll revisit it again, as opposed to, I mean, I've got the entire series on 4K, and I don't know when I'll ever feel the need to pop one in and, and watch it again. But this one, and this one does it. When I was done, I kind of wanted to watch Fury Road again. So I think it will, if nothing else, those will be the two that'll stay in rotation for me.
Have you seen Fury Road in 4K yet, John?
I have, and I did. I think it's great, and I did enjoy it. And then again, out of all the movies, that one probably would have been my favorite prior to this. But I actually thought this. I thought the story was great. Like, I really enjoyed her background and what they did with her. Her, the Anya Taylor-Joy is great. Definitely a worthy predecessor to Charlize Theron. And again, other than the weird accent of Chris Hemsworth, I mean, his character was fine. It was just his portrayal of the character that rubbed me a little bit wrong. But yeah, like I said, it's a lot of fun, and like I said, a great disc. So
how many times on the podcast have we said Anya Taylor-Joy is great? I mean,
every time a movie that she's in comes up.
when we think of Last Night at Soho, we think of The Northman. Movies like that. I mean, we talked about the
Queen
Menu.
Gambit.
Like that. I mean, quite. If she's in the film, it just. I mean, New Mutants. She's in that as well, isn't she? It's like she just can't do a bad performance. She just seems to be just to elevate every movie she's in. Very, very good actress. Yeah, really good. Anyway, sorry, Deej, you were going to say?
No, I was just going to say, like, this same for me. It's like with this movie, it's like it actually elevated Fury Road for me.
Right.
Like I kind of the way Guardians 3 elevated Guardians for me. And the entire, like, Guardians 3 came out, and I remember after the theater experience, I was like, oh my God, this entire trilogy is just like been ramped up. And Guardians has always been one of John's favorites. It's one of Keith's favorite, or #Dork. It's everywhere. And I was always like, why is everybody? I'm like, it's great. I love it. But I just never elevated it like they did. It was always in there, like your top 5, right, John? Like, I always had
my top 3, really.
Yeah, and I always had it maybe top 10 because I liked it, but then after 3, I went, oh my God! That got elevated. But same with this. It's what this did for the story. Both of them have amazing home theater experiences.
As a matter of fact, we might be talking about Fury Road next week, because I will probably pop it in the next day or two and give it a watch. So, because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I have seen the disc since I bought it. So.
Well, I've got the what is it? Now I have the Chrome version
black
of that.
And chrome version.
Black and Chrome that got updated to 4. They had it before on Kaleidoscape, but I don't think didn't have Atmos, and maybe it wasn't 4K. And now it's got the full boat. That's been for a little while. I've had it sitting there, so I might go back on that too. I wasn't as impressed with that black and chrome as I was with Logan, and I've said that many times. But yeah, I mean, these are great movies, great home theater experiences. It's like, I mean, how do you not have these? These are kind of like must-haves in your collection.
Yeah,
if you're
I think so.
any history of Mad Max or anything. I mean, you think we come from the 70s to this, and I've said that on the show before too, and you're like, how the heck did we get here? But it's awesome.
It's and I'm with you, John. The first time I saw it at the cinema, I just took against Chris Hemsworth hugely because I just thought it was stupid and over the top and unnecessary. But I have to say, I did a complete 180 on having then seen it at home. So if you do get around to rewatching it, it'll be interesting to see whether you then kind of are a bit more prepared for it second time around. Because I actually really responded to his character second time.
Really,
you get beyond the accent, and then you see the tragedy of kind of what's unfolding. You realize how ineffective and useless he is, and he knows it. And becomes to that realization as we get through it. And I actually really realized what he was doing second time around. First time, I just thought you were irritating the hell out of me.
Well, and not to give spoilers necessarily, but obviously we know there'll be a showdown between the two characters at some point. And they're kind of like ultimate showdown. I thought was pretty moving, actually, for a movie like this. You wouldn't expect I thought he had some great emotion. Like his portrayal of that scene was really good. So
there's some layered stuff in amongst the kind of the OTT silliness. There is some layered stuff to his performance. As that is a very tragic character. So it is good. And interestingly, today, talk about YouTube Shorts. I saw a YouTube short today that was asking him about that accent. And what he said was that the idea is that it's clearly in Australia, and this one, no messing around. And he said that the idea is this would have been in the future, way in the future. So it's a version of an Australian accent that he envisages that it would have been in the future, because it doesn't link to any particular part of Australia today.
Right.
It's not like it's a regional accent. But what he said was that also his grandfather used to talk exactly like this. And he said, so his grandfather would say, hey, come on out, kids, let's go do this sort of thing. It'd be great. And he said, so he was doing there's a version of that as well, heightened because of what he did. So, it has some meaning to him. It's not just a silly accent.
Right.
So, it's good. Well,
how's that possible, Steve? I don't know.
Well, couldn't say.
Like you complained. And obviously, what was the Kiwi accent you didn't like in the middle of space?
Yeah, Ender's Game. Yeah, Ben Kingsley.
Sir Ben Kingsley. How do you know that's not accurate? It's in the middle of space.
Let's not go near there again. In fairness, the Kiwi accent is really difficult. And what's the other movie? Everest. In that film, you have Keira Knightley is trying to do a Kiwi accent, and also Emily Mortimer, maybe I want to say, I might get that wrong, who's trying to do a Kiwi accent as well. And it is very difficult to do because it's much softer than an Australian accent, which is quite a broad, mate. You can do an Aussie all day long, whereas the Kiwi one has some softness to it. So it's tricky for people to do. But for Kiwis, such as myself, I like it done properly.
Yeah.
Or else.
Yep.
And not shot in Spain.
There you go. And that's what's important. As long as we don't shoot it in Spain. So,
well, quite indeed, unless it's supposed to be Spain, then it's fine.
Right. No, that's where I don't want anything shot in Spain, just to irritate you. Just to irritate. We're going to do like something about the Spanish Inquisition.
Tatooine.
We're going to shoot it in Afghanistan.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's supposed to be Boston, and we're going to shoot it in Kabul.
Yeah, I wouldn't care, but yeah. So, all right. Let's see. Now, let's I got a couple for you here. Let's. Oh, that didn't come in good. There we go. All right. Here we go. This is going to be fun. A little bit. Yeah.
You come to me on the occasion of my daughter's birthday.
Exactly. The Oscar nominated, Oscar winning. It's like
it was. It was Oscar nominated for effects, wasn't it?
And sound, I thought, didn't it?
Yeah. I think it won for both. Yeah, it was ILM, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep. And for people listening to the audio only podcast on Friday, we are talking Transformers from 2007, I believe. It wasn't it 2007? Yeah, it was 2007 because it was before 08 which I have another movie for that. Obviously, 07 comes before 08, but I have my reasons later. Don't pick on me here. Jeez. My mind is not straight tonight. Okay, guys, I got a lot going on. But Transformers, I'm having a blast. I don't know if it's Dolby Vision. I don't know if it's the update to the Lumigen, but things are looking like I'm actually enjoying older stuff more now than I'm enjoying new stuff. And I'll get to that with the other movie I'm going to talk about in a second. Because I'm seeing stuff that I was like, I didn't see before. And I don't give two craps if everybody goes, it's all in your head. Who cares? It's my head. It's supposed to be in my head, and I'm enjoying it. So if it's all psych, whatever, who cares? I enjoyed it, all right? But it's like this movie, I mean, Transformers, it's, it's better than The Godfather in the theater. We've said it all. I mean, what else can we say? But the picture on this, it's amazing. Like, there were things I was seeing in, like, Optimus Prime that it wasn't just impressive that I'm seeing them now. I'm sure they were there before. Maybe I just didn't notice them because I'm feeling like my brights are brighter. The contrast is better, whatever the update was, right? But there were like little blinky things going on behind him, like reflections in his chrome or whatever. But I'm sitting there and they're so minor. And I was like, why did they even put those in? And I love when I think that, like, nobody would know if those weren't there. But those little tiny blinky pieces that if you're in my theater, it's not even worth a timestamp because if I gave it to you, you wouldn't even know what I was talking about. Look on his shoulder and behind here and blah, and he's talking to such a, you got to see it for yourself. And like I could show you, I'm like, why did they do this? I talk about that all the time with sound. Like, why do they put these pans in? Because most people listen in mono on their phone or they're listening on a TV in the living room. But the detail in the like at times, like the battle scars or the wearing on the metal and everything, it was just beautiful. Watching the entire thing, seeing things I've never seen before, seeing the water droplets on them because, you're in the movies, for some reason, every time there's a chase scene, the streets are always soaking wet, but it's never raining. It's like, it's just what happens. And the cars will have that little bit of water on them. And these digital cars had water on them. I was like, the detail was awesome. So much fun. And it led me into.
Well, just before we go, DJ, so you're saying 2 thumbs up?
Absolutely.
Just check it right.
Two thumbs up. Two thumbs up.
Right, just check.
There we go. I give you a high five.
High 4, surely.
There we go. Shout out to Fonzie. And everybody's like, what?
Yeah, we're not explaining that.
No. So moving on to my second movie here, Transformers 1. The animated feature from this year, which is the origin years before they became Optimus Prime and Megatron. 2 young Transformers work together on a mission to save Cybertron. That's in the little thing. I didn't just spoil it for everybody. And this is for animation. It is gorgeous. It is. It is absolutely gorgeous. The sound, not as. Yeah, it's not as dynamic as I would have liked. It doesn't have the deep end that I would have liked. I actually went from this and jumped to a scene just to go back to, just for fun, I'm jumping to something. But after this ended, I went and watched a little bit of The Dark Knight. And it's like, oh my God, that's so dynamic. You're like, oh, there's all my base. I was like, okie dokie. And like, but that's, I mean, you go to anything after, that's like, it's like going from Lucy to even that, you'd be like, wow, Dark Knight sounds flat, compared to Lucy. But this one, it was good. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. But it wasn't one where you go, this is an Atmos track you've got to listen to. It's in Atmos, 4K, HDR, Dolby Vision, all of that. But like I said, I did find myself going, this looks great. But does it? Is it that because I got nothing to compare. I'm not seeing any improvements because it just looks good, right? It just looks great. And it's just so much fun when you see your old content or hear it and it gets blown up like that. Like, oh my God, I didn't even know this was there. Like when we were at Cedia and Mike Schramm and I are sitting there and we heard that opening to Fury Road. and you're like, that bass it's been there the whole time, and I just heard it for the first time. And it's fun stuff like that makes you, that's where it's like people will say, well, you're justifying the purchase, right? Well, Mikey and I heard that, and we hadn't made a purchase. We're not justifying crap. We just literally heard it, right? So, but even if it is, you just mentally justify, who cares? You made a purchase, and you're getting more out of all of your content. That's awesome. That's what I want. It's like, isn't that what we're here for? And it's like, whether it's real or not, but I tend to think it is, because we're so critical of ourselves and of the movies and stuff. It's like, it just, but yeah, Transformers 1. I really like the story too. Have either of you guys seen it?
No, I missed it in theaters, and I've been looking forward to getting the disc, because I'd heard from everyone that it's really good. I mean, I think Dave #Dork did a review of it and said it was really, really good.
Oh, did they do it this week? I haven't heard it this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it was. I think I've heard them talk about it, but so many people have said it's good. I mean, when the trailers to it looked dopey. I just couldn't get my head around, why do I need to see a prequel? I don't need to see Optimus and Megatron when they were friends. It just seemed kind of weird. And yet, so many people have said it's really good that I was hoping the disc would be exceptional and all the rest of it. But I will buy it. I'm gonna pick it up and see it. Because again, so many people have said it's good.
Yeah,
you kind of have to.
Yeah, it's a good.
And I know Jordan in the
really
chat
good
saying
movie.
It's great.
It's a fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun to see the origin story of these characters, and it's. I mean, and then even the ending, you're like, okay, I want more. Whether we go with another, animated feature like this, or we go back to the live action versions. It was a lot of fun, and that's why I started with the first one, because that's kind of between these two. But yeah, it's really, really good, and a really good visual home theater experience. The sound is like, could have used a little lower on the low end, but really, really good. A lot of fun. Definitely worth having for sure.
And so if the Transformers from 2007 was Transformers 1, is this Transformers 1 too?
Huh?
Well, the first 2007 was Transformers 1.
Yeah.
And this one then must be Transformers 1 2. But it was the first one, so it's Transformers 1, then this Transformers 1 2.
Yeah. Well, it just says
just so I know.
Transformers. See, no one, Steve. No, no one. Come on.
Transformers
don't let
also
get in the way of a good joke.
In addition to.
In addition to. Yeah. The prequel. No. All right.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I am looking forward to it. Jordan will help me out with that. When's it out here, Jordan? Can you bung us? Let me know in the chat, mate, when that's out. I'm hoping it's out here before Christmas.
Yeah. Let's see. What do you got? Do you want?
Shall we do the one that you talked about previously? Middle row, second from the right. Should we do that one if it's my turn again? Second
middle
from the
row,
right.
second from the right.
It.
This?
Yeah. Yep.
There you go. Yeah, sure.
Okay. You'll have some views on this as well, Deej?
I'll have. I got views.
I got
opinions.
I got views. They're multiplying.
This is a funny one with the Christmas lights around it.
Yes, quite. Talk about one extreme to the other. So this then is The Crow, the 2024 remake of the erstwhile Brandon Lee classic. Was starring Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård, isn't it? Yeah. So remake 2024. These you've already reviewed it on the show when it came out on Kaleidoscape a while back, and we've talked about The Crow a number of times this year because also they did the 4K version of the original. Strange movie, this one. This was my first watch of this. I didn't know what to expect, and I think I said these before when we talked about it. I wasn't planning on ever seeing this because the trailers had underwhelmed. It bombed at the box office, and it just did not do much for me at all until you said it's actually worth seeing. So on the back of that, I bought it. The 4K disc. And so it's 4K UHD Dolby Atmos, all singing, all dancing. It's not a musical, that's a turn of phrase. And I then gave this a watch. a very odd film, very strange movie, very, very different to the Brandon Lee one, I think. And as from what I understand, that it's closer to the comic on which it's all based. But yeah, an odd film. And I'm not entirely sure what I thought of it. I don't quite know whether I excuse me. Don't quite know whether I really liked it or not. I haven't yet figured it out, and I watched it days ago, and I haven't still quite got my head around whether I liked it. It's got problems, definitely, where the love story, such as it is, just felt completely flat for me. I never felt that there was any kind of connection between the two characters that are supposed to be in love, let alone enough for one character to sacrifice himself to eternal damnation so that other character might go. That just went nowhere for me at all. Oh, it didn't help that one of the lead character looks like a client of mine who is not a fan. I'm not going to name him, but we're no fan of that client, and he looks just like him in this, and that was irritating me as well. But anyway, so that's not the film's fault. So the love story just feels completely flat to me. And that's the first sort of half of the movie. It's much more of that than there is in the first one. In the first one, it's like, oh, Shelley and I are in love. Oh, she's dead. Right, vengeance. Whereas in this, they sort of
Steve.
Well, sorry, that's the first one. If you haven't got it 30 years from now, it's your own fault.
Oh, but that's the basis of the movie. It's like, I'll die.
Whereas this, it's the first sort of half of the movie. It's all kind of trying to set up something that, for me, just didn't work at all. And so so when he then kind of goes, vengeance is mine, and that's in the trailers, you're like, really? Okay, fair enough if you say so. So that was a bit weird. However, once you get to the vengeance, it is at least a bit more interesting. I like the fact that, and I mean, did you tell me what you think of this? What I do like about it, and was an interesting choice, is that when he becomes the Crow, spoiler alert, I mean, the name's there. So when he becomes that, although they never call him the Crow, but I'm assuming that's what he would be called. I like the fact that he doesn't become a martial arts or fighting expert at all. No. They don't give him any extra kind of skills. It's not like, when as soon as Peter Parker gets bitten by a spider, he's he can fight really well. It's all
John
just comes
Wick
with it.
Without the magic suits.
But John Wick can fight. Whereas this guy just seems to be like because he's really inefficient with a blade. He's terrible shot. He just kind of stands there and gets shot. And I thought that actually,
but he just walks in and just just walks through.
He's not very good at it. Yeah,
No.
And I actually thought that was quite good. I thought that was quite interesting. That he's not even a brawler. He's still just as kind
more
of
realistic, if you could say that.
Right.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of, and I thought that was interesting and much more kind of grounded. Again, if you can even use that. So he's not suddenly, can't leap 30 feet in the air, and he can't do, roundhouse kicks, and he's not a crack shot, and he can't disavow you. He actually is pretty bad at all that stuff. But because he's immortal, he can just carry on. And so flowing from that, you get the violence and you get the gore, which you talked about, it is gory. And that's, always going to be interesting to me. So I found the back half of the movie much more interesting than the first half. The first half, I was like, I'm just not feeling this. And then the second half then brought me more to it, which is why I say I don't really know whether I liked it or not. I will definitely see it again, not for a while. But I will see it again, and I've kept it in the collection. Yeah, So it's on the shelf. I'm not going to get rid of it, but I'm on the fence about it at the moment, a bit like a crow. So that's one thing, and I did just think of that. I swear. But what is very
wants
good
credit
about
that
it,
he just thought of that. Okay.
Well, just proving that I haven't written it down. So
he just thinks on his feet.
What John said, what he said. Other way. There you go. There. Right.
So, I got a joke. I wrote this down earlier this week. So a crow sitting on a fence.
Why did the crow cross the road? Yeah. So in terms of what is good though, what is beyond kind of discussion, I think, is how good it looks and sounds. It's not, the video's not quite referenced for me. There are quite a few soft shots, probably quite deliberate. Again, it's the hazy love story thing, isn't it? So it's not quite as detailed as I would have liked in some things. Sometimes it's great, other times it's not. So that varies a little bit. So not quite referenced, but still very good. But the audio is fantastically good in this. The audio is referenced. I mean, every time there's a musical number, it's like the Rapture. You know, it's like
just like the first one. They really leaned into the music, the the soundtrack of it, modernizing it, but still bringing you that same vibe.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I did like the soundtrack was good, and the audio was really good on it. I think it's a Lionsgate disc in the US, and you can tell, you know, everything's up to again. Yeah, it's a strange one. I'm definitely on the fence about it. I'll see it again, and then I think I'll have more of an idea as to whether I like it or not.
It's funny because
but it's a hell of a disc.
I liked the what you're on the fence about is what I actually enjoyed. Is like I thought it was how you could still make the movie relatively the same length. You know, it's not substantially longer than the original, if at all. I think it is, but they did a better job of fleshing out the relationship, and I thought that was pretty cool. And that's the part that it didn't resonate with you, and I was like, I thought it really did. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get to what we all know is coming. You know, the rip-roaring rampage of revenge is what you're tuning in for.
You were there for the horror, not the love story. So come on, get to it. Get people dying appropriately, because if they don't die appropriately, you're not happy either. They're going to be dead enough.
Then there'll be different kinds of violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Real world violence. But it just so yeah, I just think that in the first one they actually thread that needle really quickly. I mean, Eric Draven, it's Draven, isn't it? Eric Draven, Shelley, you know, it's like, we're in love. How do we know they're in love? Well, because they say it. Okay, and there at least looks like there's some sort of devotion there. Whereas these two in this, for me, just look like they're just like two actors rocked up, and they're like, right, you love him, do I? Why? Yeah, because you do. All right, and you love her. Why? Because I say so. Brilliant. And action. And that kind of, and to me, that's how it came across. And again, I appreciate, as I said, he does look like one of my clients. So there's a certain level of trauma there. All right. Because whenever we see this client, it's like, oh, Christ, do we really have to deal with this guy? So there's a bit there. And the fact that he's in this sort of prison didn't help either. But I didn't feel the love at all. I didn't feel that. And so when he then, you know, decides to do what he does, just felt weird to me. But again, maybe that'll all be fixed in the second viewing. It's happened before. It may happen again.
I felt like the original was set up really quick, and they're like, it was like their wedding eve or whatever, or they were about to get married. So you knew that. It's like, and that's all you had to know, is like they were getting married. Whereas this one, they were more like unlikely, like lovers. They were more like they weren't supposed to be together. But fate will put you together regardless. And then once regardless of how you got together, or you weren't even supposed, how were they supposed to get together? And then once they were, it was nothing can separate them, right? And that was like, even death didn't separate them. And that's how I kind of read it, because it wasn't as black and white as the originals, like literally black tux, white wedding dress, there you go. It's like, and now we'll go on with the killing. Right. And then in this one, it's like, I mean, he literally came out in the first one. He had the black suit on. I mean, that's what he was buried in or whatever. But in this one, it was more, you know, like they were strangers and didn't know each other. And then it was like kind of, they melded together throughout that opening part. And it was like, you're like, why are they together? Who knows? But they were just literally destined to be together, but then torn apart by this. And then he just, you know.
I mean, the decision, I think, to make them strangers and then have them kind of do that just seemed it seemed unnecessary. You could have moved that along a couple of more stages and then made everything a bit more kind of just get with it, just get going. You know, we know kind of what the setup's going to be. Let's just have that, get that out of the way and move on. There was no chemistry, I felt, between them at all. None.
Yeah.
If someone said they were both acting separately against green screen versions of themselves, I'd be like, well, that makes sense. Because that, you know, that's how little chemistry there seemed to be. And I'm not criticizing the actors. Bill Skarsgård's great, and he's, you know, he's very good. I think I've seen that actress before, but I'm sure she's very good. It's just in this movie, the way it's been structured and mounted, it just felt flat to me, and I didn't feel that. But again, it looked great and sounded great, so that got me through it. Otherwise, I would have just turned it off. So I did get through that, and once it does kick into gear, and he does decide to you know, get his revenge, that was much more interesting. And again, I do like the fact that he's not even a brawler. He's actually really bad with a blade, really bad with a gun, and just the only reason he'd be dead in seconds if he wasn't immortal. I mean, he would have barely got through the front door.
Right.
And that's actually quite an interesting choice. So it's just odd.
Yeah. See, I like I said, it's like, I'm an exact opposite. They weren't ever even supposed to meet. They weren't supposed to be together. He sacrificed everything. And there you go. You know what I mean? They were fate. And that's it kind of probably isn't it in the original, like in the voiceover at the original, fate intervenes or whatever. It's something about fate. And that's kind of what that was about. It was like, regardless of circumstances, fate will take over. And I think, and that's what, I don't know. That's why it resonated with me. I was just like, this is good. Especially the ending. I don't want to give it away. Like what happens and what it's, and it's for that. It's, so. All right.
I mean, it would have been very powerful had that chemistry been there. The decision that he ultimately makes was like, oh my God. But when you don't kind of feel that, it just sort of, falls a bit flat. But there we go.
Yeah.
But I am glad I've seen it. And again, I wouldn't have done without your recommendation.
I can't wait for you to see it again because I'll come right back at you with I'm like, did you get it now? Like that's the point that they never got to be that way.
It would not be the first time.
All right. Exactly. All right. John, what do you got, buddy?
Probably the daddy, the 4K daddy, surely.
Yeah, let's hit that. There we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is another. I'm sorry, I'm laughing already. You ready, John?
I'm ready.
All
right. So this is Pacific Rim 4K disc. This did not have Dolby Vision. It's a 4K HDR with Dolby Atmos. So apparently I'm the last guy in the hobby to own this disc because I just got this.
It's a lifestyle, John.
I know. Just got this as part of the Black Friday sales drop this past week. Now I did not see this in the theater back in the day, but I've seen this movie a handful of times. Maybe not so popular opinion, but I've always thought the movie was just okay. Like I don't think it's like what? I never loved it. Again, maybe it was the fact that I've really only ever seen it streaming on whatever size TV I had at the time. But like I said, it's fine and it's fun, but I never really loved it. Until I watched this 4K disc.
The delivery system.
The delivery system. I mean, this disc, and again, I'm so late to the party. Everybody here listening to this show has seen this already, I'm sure. This is the disc of the decade for me. Like this is stunning picture and sound. Reference sound from second one to the end credits. And to me, again, this is an example where the quality of the disc elevates this movie
ridiculously,
to like top tier status. I had such a good time watching this. And again, the story is the story. And again, it's fine. It's always been fun, but I don't know, for some reason, never just really loved it. But I will come back to this movie again and again and again, because if you haven't seen this disc, it is just hard to describe how good it is. Again, it couldn't be disc of the year because this movie came out 11 years ago. But better than Furiosa, I think. Better than anything else I've talked about in a long time. It is just.
It has everything.
Again, for a home theater experience, this movie has everything you want it to have. And again, the picture, again, I'm getting a little spoiled with the Dolby Vision. This doesn't have it. I didn't miss it here. Like it is stunning. The picture is so good. The HDR is like I said, is unbelievable, and the sound just.
Yeah.
Like you just put this on, like I could put it on and turn the picture off and just lay back and listen to it. Because it is so good.
Have you seen the 3D version, John?
No. No.
Did the 4? I can't remember if the 4K version comes with the 3D version.
I don't think so, because I didn't
Okay.
notice it. There's only one disc. This doesn't come with any. No, I'm sorry. There was a Blu-ray with it too, but I don't know if it had the 3D or not.
If you can get hold of the 3D one, this is one of those rare exceptions, a bit like Avatar and a bit like Dread, where the 4K is absolutely top tier, but the 3D is still worth a watch as well.
Okay, I'll see if it's there.
Because all of the you know, I don't know, you know, the computer screens, all that sort of stuff is all in 3D space and looks very, very nice in 3D. Okay. And I say that knowing that I prefer 4K all day long.
Yeah. I've never owned this other than now. Like I've only ever seen it in, you know, whether HBO or Netflix, wherever it would have been streaming is the only place I've seen this movie. So.
Well, if you, like I said, if you get a chance, even if you borrow the 3D from someone, it's worth just giving it a watch because it does give you a different dimension on the film. But literally, yes. But no, I mean, there's no doubt the disc is as reference a 4K disc as I think I've ever seen or heard. I love this movie, and I've loved it. This again, any movie with robots hitting giant creatures. Again, forget Pacific Rim, just call it Steve's movie.
Well, and again, it should be that for me too. Like, I don't know why it wasn't, because this is everything I love about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am a child of Voltron and
Guy King.
You know,
oh my god.
I mean, I was weaned on this stuff, but I don't know why it never really connected with me, but it definitely did this time around. So
I mean, Guillermo del Toro is just he loves this stuff as well, and he's an ultra geek. He makes all of us look like complete novices at this, and this is does feel like someone just playing with toys, you know, just think, and you've got in any movie where someone gets smashed about the head with a giant ship. I'm careful how I say ship. Is just, you know, you can't not love it.
And again, not that 2013 was like super long ago, but I mean, it is 11 years old now. But I mean, the visuals hold up. Like this looks like it could have been made yesterday. You know, like they really did a great job with it. And you know, like I said, it holds up today. So
this is the standalone that almost broke me.
Oh,
really? I did it. You don't remember, like, because I used to timestamp.
Oh, like,
and I was timestamping, and then I got to this,
the whole movie.
Like, I was like, "What the hell?" It's like a really good movie would be like 40 timestamps, and then when I went back through it, I'd filter it out and maybe get it down to 30 or something like that, right? This movie, I was like, it was something like 62 times.
Yeah, timestamps. It's like 0001.
What? Yeah, exactly. So what I did
is 2 minutes, 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 59 seconds.
This is the first one. And what I used to do when I did the show is I would timestamp it, and like I would timestamp it on my phone, and then I would go back through and I'd watch it. And when I got to what I thought was like I really got my groove in, the show I'd record the show here, and my theater, as John knows, is like right around the corner. So I'd run in the room now with the timestamps, watch the scene, run here and sit down and say it, right? And so I would rewatch the whole movie. It would take like 2.5, 3 hours, right? So I'd have 2.5, 3 hours of a recording, but I'd edit out all the dead time when I was in the other room and then bring it down to whatever length the show would be, right? This show broke me. I'm like, there's no way I'm running back and forth that many times. So I literally took the entire podcast studio, brought it into the room, put it in front of me, and went, here we go. Listen to that episode. And I'm like, I'm in the room. Like,
the whole podcast should have just been the audio of the movie from start to finish.
And your own commentary.
It's legitimately, it's the only movie I've ever done that on. And it was like, that's what you had to do, because there was no scene. It never stopped. And it was just like, everything was dynamic, everything's moving around the room. And then I started talking about like, all right, I think I ended up doing the show instead of about all the loud stuff. I go, let's talk about the little stuff. Let's try to find that's the lesser
about what's
side.
Not referenced,
right? But it actually turned out to be like when there was a scene I remember distinctly where the little helicopter goes by in the little window, like the bunker window in the background, and they're in like almost like a I don't want to say like a boardroom because it's all like brick and stone and everything, but you see in the bunker window way in the background, you see a helicopter go by and it goes by on your screen. But then it's outside, it goes out of the window shot, and so now it's still outside, but it goes right around the room while they're talking. And you're like all the way around the room, but it's like they didn't have to do that. It doesn't have to be there because you didn't even have to put the sound of that tiny little helicopter way off in the distance out a window that they had it go left to right or right to left across your screen, whatever. Right. And it's like, that was the little stuff I was trying to find in this movie. It's insane. It's insane. Oh. It's overwhelming, actually.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I just kind of had a big grin on my face the whole time. Just sit back and I really had a great time watching this. I loved it.
Yeah, and it is one, like John, like you said, like turn the screen off and then you just sit in your room and do this.
Yeah.
Like you're looking around the room for the audio only people on Friday. I'm looking all around the room.
Right.
Like you're looking around you're looking behind you, you're looking over your head, you're like, and it actually helps you focus on that. I've told that many times on the show. I've done that a lot. Like you shut the screen off and just listen to scenes. Right. And you'd be like, oh my God, listen to that. Yeah, and this is one of those where you could do the whole entire movie. But yeah, so good. All right, sorry. Too much.
No.
No, mate, no, it's worth it. That movie, I mean, again, it is a must own.
Yeah.
And it's
absolutely.
like $10.99 right now on Amazon. Oh. So.
Yeah. It's a steal, isn't
it? Let's see. What else do I have here? All right. We'll go with this one because it'll probably, the next one will come up next week. Here we go.
Is it that time of year again?
This isn't even one of them, but two is. Okay. So I started with this one. This is, like I said earlier, from 2008. And after doing Transformers, I figured I got to do this because there's got to be technology that was taken directly from Transformers to the original, the very first Marvel Studios movie, Iron Man. And if this flops, we've got nothing, guys. We got nothing. There is, if this flops the way the next movie did, which was The Incredible Hulk, that flopped. If this one flopped like that, we probably don't have anything. And
we don't have
the whole MCU, world right now is like, thank God I could do without that. But the original Iron Man from 2008, 4K, Atmos, HDR, Dolby Vision, all of that, and watching this again with the updates and seeing the stuff like the gears inside the something I saw like the first time that he suits up in the Mach 3, which would be the red and gold. The first time he really gets into that, they go into all the detail I never saw before. His skin tight, like whatever he's wearing. You could see it through the stuff. Like you could see the texture there. And I'd never noticed that before. And again, I don't know if it's all in my head and I'm being hyper realistic, just looking for this stuff, but the detail there was awesome. The original, Mach 1 design, everything in the cave at the beginning of this movie was stunning. The deep blacks, the color. I mean, that's a dark, dark scene. Then he comes out and people are like shining and you're shining. I mean, it was really, really good. The sound on this, I've had people talk about like the bass was better on the original Blu-ray than it is now on the Atmos. I love it. I love this. When he's chasing down those, what are they, raptors or whatever, and then he ends up on the belly of the detail that you see there on his mask, on the heads-up display of them chasing him, looking at the heads-up display and how crystal clear they're seeing him through their heads-up display. But then you look on either side of it, it's like blurred because it's just the canopy, and the canopy's a little. I mean, gorgeous. And this is 2008, and it just, again, that's what I love. Like when we first started doing the show, or Steve, when you joined the show, I should say, and it's like, we should schedule it. It's like, I love like how our brains work. And like, I went from Transformers. I'm like, I need to see Iron Man again. Cause I know I'm going to go to 2. And I like just, and where it all came from, how the Marvel universe started, but the detail, I want to go watch this again right now. It was that much fun, the detail and everything that I saw in it. And when was the last time you guys saw it?
Oh, it's years.
Yeah, when they released them in 4K, then that's the last time I saw it.
Years ago.
I mean,
I don't even know that I've watched my disc, to be honest with you.
Your 4K?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've even watched it.
I watched it.
I have. But
well, that's why I said it's at that time of year again, because you watch this at least once a year.
At least once a year. It is one of my favorite Marvel because it is the original. But I love the movie. The whole movie itself. But then seeing it for the amount of times I've seen it, and then to be able to pull it out again and go, holy crap! Like it's like I'm still seeing improvements. And when you're upgrading stuff, it's like if you haven't seen it in 4K yet, John, you might really be blown away.
Oh, I'm sure I will. I just always have something. Well, although I've been complaining about not having a lot to watch lately, but it just always feels like there's something I haven't seen yet, and I never really find the time to go back and rewatch things that I already seen. And I've got like 25% of the discs I own I've never watched, so at least 25% of them, exactly. Maybe more. I just buy them, unwrap them, and put them on the shelf. And I'm trying to be better at that now and not putting them away until I've watched them. But but I bought so many at one time in the beginning that they all just got put on the shelf, and that's it. I never watched any of them. So,
but then that's cool now, then, isn't it? Because now it's like famine to feast, and right now I can watch these, watch that. It's great. Yeah. But though I've seen them when it came out in 4K was the last time I saw it. Because I always remember the Blu-ray being the audio on the Blu-ray I thought was a little underwhelming at times, whereas that all got fixed in the 4K disc. And it's really, really good. But it's such an easy film to watch. You don't require any investment of your time or even attention to watch this. It's just comfort food in the best way. It's a great movie, and I get why you'd watch it every year. It makes perfect sense. Very, very good.
Yeah. Sorry. What do we want to, Steve? Oh, what do you want? What do you want next, Steve, buddy?
Far right in the middle. Far right in the middle. Yeah. Well, I can tell you both off while we're talking about it. Down. No. Back up. Go back. Bottom now. Far right. That's it. I think that's one there. You just had your cursor over it. I think that's it.
This?
No. Go further to your right. There are 5 pictures there. The one that's next to the crow. On the right, to the right.
Where the
there we go.
heck am I looking?
Celebrity Squares.
I think we're behind each other. That's the problem.
There's one to the right of the crow. That one. There you go.
There we go.
Well, yeah, I tell you both off.
There's a delay to what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh boy. Here we go.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Not for the reason you think.
Yeah.
Okay. So this then is House of the Dragon, Season 2, 4K UHD discs in Dolby Atmos. Okay. Now, I need to tell you both off. Okay, and I've got a bone to pick with you both.
I love this,
gents.
Happy when holidays, you everybody.
Why
did we not force you to watch it right away?
Yes.
Yeah. I knew it. I knew that's where it was going to go because there's no way.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Right now, I'm 4 episodes in. Okay, I've not finished it yet, so we're halfway in. So spoilers. Avoid, please.
Right.
4 episodes in. And I remember you guys saying it's really, really good. Okay. And I remember
you saying have the disc either. I've only seen it on HBO.
Yeah. So I remember you guys saying the series is really good. But what you didn't say is it's really, 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 really good.
Right.
And you should have
My
done.
Bad.
Dag nabbit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is fantastic. Up until where I've got to, it is awesome, and some of the best TV writing and acting, I think, of just about any series I've seen on television. It is phenomenally good. as a series thus far, as a second season, as a follow-up to the first one. Now, I did rewatch the first season and then went straight into this, had a blast with the first season, very easy to rewatch, and then went straight into this. There are scenes in this, there are sequences in this that are the epitome of television writing. A particular sequence in episode 2 between Rhys Ifans, the young actor playing Egon, and you've got Sir Kristen there. This is an entire sequence, a discussion about war strategy and about youth and age, and it is just, it's like watching a play, and almost like a Shakespearean play in the way it's being delivered. Every line is delivered perfectly. If Rhys Ifans doesn't win an Emmy for this, something's really gone wrong. Right. It is exceptionally done. And I remember people,
it was largely panned by a lot of people.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because people were saying, it's really talky and there's not a lot of action. It's talky, talk. Yeah. But when the talking and the dialogue is this well delivered and well produced, who cares? Every line has interest, has emotion and heft, and you can see the tragic arc that is unfolding and where this is going. And it's awesome. And the idea of the dragons as a cipher for nuclear weapons, this idea of if we send them in, we all die. There's mutually assured destruction. And I love how that's been developed. And this idea of, no, we're going to hold it back. And you're dealing with the rush to war. And those that are saying that, this is basically the whole thing's a cipher for the beginning of the First World War. Right. And I am loving every second of it. And it's not just me, because I watched it with someone else who was like, oh my God, it's incredible as well. It's not literally just me.
Yeah. So I loved it.
Oh yeah, man. I wish I'd seen it months ago. Although I do like that I can see one after the other, I must admit. So not having to wait a week is good. So in terms of the story, it's fantastic. And the only thing better than that is how it looks and how it sounds. Yeah. Oh my goodness me. This again, I think the video is not a significant leap over how great the first season looked, but it is very good indeed. I mean, the armor, the clothing, the weaponry, the detail levels on it are ludicrous. I mean, I was saying to the person with whom I was watching this, and we're saying, a tour through the House of the Dragon prop department would be like a 3-week experience, and you'd be like, just leave me here. I'm just going to stare at this chest piece for 3 hours, because of the intricate detail on each of these things is fantastic, and the 4K brings it out, to no end. The black levels, the shadow detail is exceptional. It is awesome, absolutely awesome. And is distracting, but in a good way, not in a bad way. You find yourself staring open mouthed at some of the stuff on here. Sorry. Oh yeah. So Jordan says, so he loved House of the Dragon season 2. Tried telling you that season 2 was worth watching immediately, but you insisted on waiting. All right, Jordan. All right.
He
settle our scores elsewhere.
I right at you.
Yeah, I thought I'd put that up there because John and I are both saying the same thing. We're like, well, did we not say it enough? I'm like,
quite. Yeah. Just
we got to come to your house and bash upside the head with your.
I will also reiterate the penguin, but
exactly.
So that when you do see the disc, you can't tell me that I didn't tell you.
Which, by the way, I didn't put images. I've only watched a couple of episodes so far. Got on Kaleidoscape. Amazing.
Oh, is it on Kaleidoscape already?
Good.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's out here early in the new year. I think it's January, February, something like that. Yeah.
February.
Can't wait. But so it looks great, and then you get the audio. It's so good. There are both in terms of, and again, I'm only 4 episodes in. I don't think I've got to your one yet, Deej, with the sound dropping out.
And is it 8 or 10?
That seems awesome.
It's 8.
Yeah, it's 8 episodes.
Or is it 9? Yeah, 8. Yeah, it's 8.
Yeah.
So I haven't got to that bit yet.
Around
the
table. Yeah.
Yeah. But what there is both overt and then sort of under the line audio, which is just so cleverly done. The opening to episode 3, I think it is, takes place on Harrenhal, and the whole thing is you've got Daemon with the dragon landing there, and it's in the middle of a storm. And there's an extended sequence where he's walking around this deserted castle as the rain is lashing down. And I think every possible type of rain effect is used in this, what I think is about a 5 or 6 minute sequence of him just wandering around a castle. And it really does feel like there's water running down the walls of the cinema room, and you could hear the rain right above it. We've had quite a bit of rain here recently, and it really did feel like, wow, it's going off outside. It is just exceptional. So you get that kind of stuff. You get the swooping of the dragons, as you always do, and they sound amazing. But you then also get the subtlety. There are a number of times, again, it is talky, and there are a number of times in this, and again, I think it's episode 2 and a bit in episode 3, where on Dragonstone, firstly, there's a scene between Rhaenyra and someone else, and they're talking. And as they're talking, you can hear seagulls, which is not uncommon, but you can hear the waves lapping on the beach as well. And it's buried in the mix, but you can hear them off to the right on the right wall. And then it shifts to King's Landing, and you can hear it again. That audio motif of the waves lapping on the shore and the seagulls in the distance is there again, and it's under the dialogue. You could miss it entirely. You're not watching this in a surround sound thing. You'd never even know it was there. But it adds part to this because it's saying these two places are in the same position, both metaphorically and literally. They're both in this particular geographical location and this particular issue that they've got. And I thought it was exceptional. And as this was going on, and this I just found myself listening to kind of how far away the waves, kind of how they ebbed and flowed. And it's transfixing. It's awesome, absolutely awesome. As I say, this series is better than season 1, and I loved season 1. This is just that plus. I'm loving it so far. And the only thing stopping me from just devouring all 4 remaining episodes in one go is other person that needs to have time to see it too.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's so good. I'm quite happy. This is a series you could have 2 people sat in a room talking for 8 episodes, an hour long each, and I will not complain once with this quality of writing. I love how this is. Although one other thing, during that sequence in episode 2, as I say, between Rhys Ifans and Egon, what is funny, one thing that did occur to me is that the writing's fantastic, but there is a point where Rhys Ifans approaches the camera and he's just delivered a very impassioned speech. And so you've got the camera here and he's right up, it's a close-up. And he clearly is aware you can't ever look into the camera. And so he's right in this, though, and you can see him rather dramatically looked bottom left and then turn bottom right like that. So he's not looking at the camera. And I thought that was quite funny. And it did take me out of it very briefly because he's clearly trying to show despair and show his frustration. But he's so close to the camera that he can't, he's got to do that. And then he's got to do that. And it was just quite funny. But anyway, that's what sort of things that go through my head. But nevertheless, it's awesome. It really is good. And I love this. So again, guys, telling you off, okay, really, really good. It's not enough. Should have been really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
And then I would have been more prepared.
It would have been if 3 of us were saying it, but unfortunately it was like 2 of us saying it's really good. So you got it's really, really good, and you're like, it should have been really, really, really good.
Apparently Jordan was the number 3 though. So
apparently, it's like it wasn't enough.
So it was really, really, really good.
Multiple countries are telling you, multiple people. It wasn't enough, but now it's like, okay, everybody. Now that Steve knows, okay, go get it.
It's really cubed.
It is really good.
But the only thing is, again, I don't know how it might not have had the same impact if I'd viewed this in 2 channels stereo on a 46-inch TV rather than seeing it on a 75-inch screen in Atmos in 4K. I wonder how much of that does affect it. Again, your delivery system. And if I watch this when it's broadcast, that's how I'm watching it. 46-inch TV, 2-channel stereo because of we don't have Max is here, isn't it? But they're still being shown by a thing called Sky and Now TV over here, which I don't have. So I have to subscribe to the app, and it's like 2-channel stereo, and it's just not the same.
I watch them with no Atmos and no 4K. Same thing with the Penguin. So I'm looking forward to but I'm definitely looking for. I didn't realize this disc came out already. So
House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably been out for weeks. I don't know. I didn't
No.
really.
It came out here, I think, last week here, and it would have been about the same there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. And also, by the way, it does come with some quite cool things in the package. You get some quite nice little art card things. And also, which is quite good, is they also have the names of the characters on the back. So that's quite handy. If you started to lose the names of the characters, they're on the back, which is nice of them to do.
They give you like trading cards.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that trumps. One there, that red hair.
You need them with some of these shows.
Yeah. Well, quite. Yeah. So it's all on there, and then you also get a little booklet that actually breaks down some of the episodes, which they haven't always done as well, and that can be problematic. But this does it. It's great. It's so good.
This has it all. It really does
exactly that.
But it has, like you said, it has great. I mean, the season 1 has a demo scene for HDR that I've talked about in the past. I think I forget which episode it was. Maybe 6 or 7.
6
when he walks through the caves or the catacombs to the dragon, and how dark it is. And anytime I upgrade anything with my projector and my display, I go right to that. That's why it's sitting there. I mean, that takes up a ton of space on the Kaleidoscape because it's the whole season, but I won't drop it because I need that scene at any moment to be testing my stuff.
That scene with Damon and Rhaenyra walking on the beach as well. I think it's the same episode, probably the next scene after the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's also a demo scene.
It's certainly a calibration test scene, isn't it?
Well, for sure. Yeah. Because when I watched it on the TV, I couldn't tell that cloak was purple,
right?
Exactly. Until I got the disc and watched it on the disc, and I was like, "Oh, look at that!"
It's even like that scene in that, like you see his outfit, you see the dragon come in, you see it. It's kind of like the bass notes in like we were talking about earlier in Fury Road. Like I never saw that before. You see the dragon earlier than you saw before because it was so dark and it comes in so gradually. You're like, oh my God. And I mean, it's just they're very, very difficult scenes to do, period. And if your system isn't up to it, you get all that crushing and everything that goes on, which is the reason I ended up with the Lumigen, is because I was getting all that with my streams. Right. And to be fair, the Panasonic was doing a great job with the disc, but what it was doing is it was reducing that. It was taking that away so you didn't get the crushing. Right. So I wasn't getting it anyways, but I thought I saw everything and everything was great. Right. But then when you're able to see everything, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And the second season, same thing. The nighttime, the deep blues in those night scenes and those skies and how and the brights that it's for shooting this for streaming is awesome. And then getting it here, in 4K disc, it's great. Now I will say though, the Penguin is not the same. You're not going to be walking away going, it's the full boat. You're like, oh my God, the picture, the sound. It's not. The Penguin is it's flat out the writing.
I mean, the writing and the story. Yeah.
Yeah. The picture and sound are nice and they're improved on the disc. And from what I've seen on the Kaleidoscape, it's crisper. The dynamic range in the picture is better, but it's not to this level because it just doesn't lend itself to that. But the story, the writing, everything you're saying, Steve, you're going to be like, oh man, this is. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of The Sopranos. I didn't watch it live, but you're going to be like, this is what The Sopranos should have been. This is The Sopranos point.
I've never seen it
too.
Well, The Sopranos was excellent TV too. Yeah, so I won't say that, but
yeah.
Sopranos was good enough as what it was already.
I've never seen The Sopranos.
Oh man,
not a single episode.
I just rewatched it last year.
No, I'm looking forward to it. And of course, the beauty of the Penguin is it gives me another excuse to watch the Batman. Having only watched it relatively recently, so to watch it again before that comes out will be great. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. I mean, that one, I'm not going to suggest you undersold the Penguin because you made that very clear. But again, I do want to wait on being good. I'm not going to, again, I've had access to a screener of it. Someone I know said, "Oh, look, you can have that," but it's like, no, look, I'll wait for 4K. And it's when you then get this kind of quality for House of the Dragon season 2, you're like, well, yeah, you do kick yourself for not having seen it sooner, but you're also thinking, but now I get to see it like this.
Right.
And it's just exceptional. It really is. Again, I know today it seems we're only talking about must buys, it seems, but to me, it's a must buy because if you like the world, you got to, you just owe it to yourself to see it. You really do. And so very cool indeed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. And we're right at it. So there we go. Look at that. Yeah. So all right. We'll just wrap it up from there because we only got 2 minutes. And the other one I had was Dune Prophecy, which I was gonna say I could say right now. We could hold it till next week, but it's kind of all the same. The picture sound on that. Check it out if you haven't yet. And I think you'll be really excited, really happy about the home theater experience of that. John and I will talk next week. We have a little differing opinion on story, I think. We're not 100% sure, right, John?
Well, yeah. No, we're sure.
No, I'm saying, am I correct? Am I correct?
Oh, yeah, you're correct.
That we have a different, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Well, we might have double next week then.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. But yeah, so thank you to everybody. Tomorrow morning, if you're listening on Friday, you probably already know, but Tuesday's Takeover Tuesday, I'm going to be recording shortly, and it will have the winners in it. I'm going to record that really quick in a little bit, but the winners from Movember and all the giveaways, but thank you to everybody that donated, everybody that participated. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's like the show ended up giving over $1,500 to Ryan Davies' Movember cause. So it's really excited for that. Really happy everybody, really chipped in, and it more than I thought it was going to be. Like I said, we did 500 last year for our little show here. I think that's really good. And hopefully next year we can do even better because, now we have even a higher goal, a loftier goal. But like I said, if we prep a little, if I could do a little bit more ahead of time and get things going, we'll maybe raise more money even before we kick it off and at the beginning of November. So, all right, that will do it for this week. Anything else from you guys?
Nope. No. See you next week on the normal day next week, Tuesday. Yeah.
Back on Tuesday next week. Same bat channel, same bat time, right?
That's
there
right.
We go. Haven't said that in a while.
No.
All right. Till next week, you know what you got to do.
Go push play.
What he said.
That's right.
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.